Welcome back to Historical Tahlequah. Mayor Ken Purdy and I are going to continue our discussion about the Armory Municipal Center, which incidentally was placed on the National Register in 1994. Yes. And we are doing our interview in the Veterans Memorial Auditorium of this building. And I want you, Mayor Purdy, to tell us about what has been done with the building, your vision as a city to use this building, and just tell us all about it.
Well, it's been a wonderfully fun project and a real satisfying one in the sense that we've returned a building that kind of sits in the heart of our downtown area back to a very strong and healthy public use.
Yes.
And so we see crowds coming in and out of the building all the time now. When we acquired the building in '04 and started working on it in '05, we tried to execute a vision of a multi-purpose type facility, one that would be used about half of the building for public events, meetings and conferences and a community theater and all those kinds of things. So we set up the large space where it can be closed into 3 different meeting rooms or opened up to accommodate 300 people. And then we've got this side of the building. As you say, it was the old auditorium side. We named it in honor of the historic use of the building as for military purposes and to recognize all the veterans in our community. So Veterans Memorial Auditorium. We continue to, and I think there was a community theater play here just last weekend.
That's right.
We've seen about somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 to 26,000 people as of last year that have been coming through the building since in all those different kinds of ways for events since we've opened it back up.
Well, an organization that I belong to, the Daughters of the American Colonists, used it a month ago, and we found the facility just accommodated our state meeting with breakout rooms for board meetings and a large room with kitchen facilities for our lovely luncheon. And everyone at the site were just so gracious and met our every need with microphones and pull-down screens and just everything we needed.
Well, we worked hard to make sure that the facility was renovated to make sure it was an asset to the community, and I've just been delighted with how the community has responded to it. So, and that's what it should be. It should be continue to live on in a public function, I think.
I want you to talk a little bit before we get away from this segment about what you found that's incorporated in the lintel or the cornerstone or something of the building. The keystone of the building.
Well, it's interesting. You know, of course, all the rock work in the building was locally quarried.
Sandstone.
And sandstone and limestone. And they, you know, it's got an amazing variation of color. One of the first renovation activities that we did was come in and sandblast off about 1/4 of an inch of decades worth of paint on the main hallway and refinish that so people could enjoy the stonework. But on the outside of the building, over the main entrance to the building, is an interesting fossil that I can only imagine one of the stonemasons who, when they were working on this in 1935 and 1936, found when they brought one of these stones to the site and were dressing it up to be incorporated into the building. There is a fossilized, looks to me like a plant. I don't know, maybe a dinosaur foot for all I know. But it's over the main.
It's not a geo.
No, it's over the main main door on the west side of the building. And as you come in under the awning, if you'll look up, you'll see this real interesting. It obviously was something of pride to the stonemasons who were erecting the building because they put it in the keystone location.
Well, and you mentioned sandstone and limestone. Now, of course, sandstone is native, and we have lots of giraffe houses that are made of sandstone that are historically valid in our community. Was the limestone from here? Now, a lot of the limestone in the buildings was trucked in. What do you know about that?
This is all locally quarried, is what we've been told. And yes, you know, much of, I mean, northeast Oklahoma has limestone in great abundance. And
so it was local.
So it was local.
The Dr. Thompson home has limestone that was quarried in Veneta and trucked in, and I've always wondered about that. So
well, I have heard different stories about the location of this quarry. and the mules and the wagons that supposedly were used to help bring the material to this site. But I've never heard enough to really, with any real sense of accuracy, be able to say, yes, we know exactly where it came from.
Where the quarry was.
Whether it was out south or whether it was out west, we do know it was in relatively short proximity to Tahlequah.
When it was being built. Now, tell me, let's talk just a little bit about what offices and what the facility offers besides the public portion.
Well, we had the city of Tahlequah, like our community, as a governmental entity, the city has grown as our services and functions have grown over time. Before I took office in 2004, I think it had been about a dozen years since the mayor had an official office in anything that we now call City Hall. So there was that need, and we had acquired some additional staff, and we had business needs that were larger than the rooms that we had available. So we took basically part of the building that had already been kind of renovated for office type spaces, and now use them for those kinds of purposes. So we house the mayor's office down here. We house the office of our our human resource director, our assistant city administrator, and our buildings and plannings program.
Well, and I visited all those offices, and I will have to say that the employees are always very cordial and welcoming, and will listen, which is an important part of city government function. If you just listen, the electorate is pleased. If you fly off the handle, they're not too pleased, are they?
That's right. That's right. All public servants should be trained well in that regard.
As a teacher, you listen, and I've found that the people do listen. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on this segment of Historical Tahlequah, Mayor Purdy, and I just have to say that Mayor Purdy was my student once upon a time, and he was a sharp little guy, primarily because his parents saw to it that their children learned.
I appreciate that. Yes, I owe a great deal of gratitude to you as a former teacher and my parents.
John and Mary Lou Purdy, they were wonderful people and business people and educators in the community. So again, thank you for being on this segment of Historical Tahlequah.
I appreciate it.